I'm Phil DiCollegiero. I'm the Executive Director of the Amesbury Chamber of Commerce, and you're joining us for another episode of Behind the Brick Wall. This is a program we developed with Mountaintop Landscaping and our friends at Faulkner Commercial Group, working with our friends over at Amesbury Community Television to go behind the brick wall and learn more about the businesses and people who drive Amesbury's economy. Once again, we're joined by our friend Janet Faulkner to go and explore some pretty neat businesses today.
And today's a little bit different. We're going to interview the first nonprofit that we've interviewed, and then another business in one of the other mills, both literally behind the brick wall.
Yeah.
So first stop will be C-10 over
C-10.
at 11 Chestnut.
Okay, so C-10, now that's, what does C-10 do? Now is that like C like the letter?
C like the letter,
Okay.
C-10, and they are the citizens, well, I don't want to give away too much, but the C-10, my understanding is that it is the citizens within the 10-mile radius of the Seabrook power plant.
Okay.
So come on, we'll learn all about it.
And then after, right, we're going to stay on Chestnut Street, and we're walking across the street to visit with Cacao. Right?
Cacao.
Cacao. And what do they do?
And maybe taste some chocolate.
Oh, okay. So we're going to eat some things today.
Yes, we will.
Well, I'm excited. Let's go check out
Great.
C-10 first.
Excellent. Good morning, Natalie. Thanks so much for taking the time to do this interview, and I'm really glad for everybody to have the opportunity to hear about what you do and what your mission is. So thank you.
Thanks so much for coming to see us, Janet. It's
Sure.
great, and I understand from Phil that we're the first nonprofit to be on Behind the Brick Wall, and seeing as we have real live brick walls here at CI Works, it's an honor.
It's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit. So Natalie, tell everybody a little bit about before you tell us about your background, tell us a little bit about C-10
Sure.
and as what you do as a nonprofit, and then I'm gonna have a whole bunch of questions for you.
Sure.
Thanks.
Well, C-10, or the C-10 Research and Education Foundation, was founded at about the time that Seabrook Station nuclear power plant went online. And there was a group of citizens that were concerned to make sure that the plant was operating safely. And C-10 actually means citizens within the 10-mile radius, which is the federally designated emergency planning zone around every nuclear plant in the country. So our mission from the very beginning has been to monitor real-time radiation from the plant in the surrounding communities. We've been funded since 1992 from the Mass Department of Public Health to do that work. And we serve as watchdogs on safety concerns at the plant. Over the years, there have been, mechanical or structural issues. Right now, it's been about a dozen years we've been following and pushing for stronger regulation of the degrading concrete problems at the plant, which is a slow-moving but concerning problem.
Right.
Generally, we like to be a resource for people who live here to be aware that there's a nuclear plant and to think about what that means for their family. To be aware that there are emergency plans, that they get a mailer from the plant and the state every year that talks about emergency planning and where to get potassium iodide to protect their thyroid. So it's those type of things that are difficult to think about, but it's our reality living here in the Seabrook area. So that's what C-10 is all about.
That's great. So you are partly funded by the state, and then you're also a member organization. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. So as I said, thanks to support of our state legislators, since the early 90s, we have had funding that actually flows from Seabrook, the plant, through an assessment that the state puts on them to do monitoring for the real-time monitoring of beta and gamma radiation, wind speed and direction, which Mike will tell you about in a bit. And otherwise, our other efforts in New Hampshire and our other activities have to be privately funded through members, donors, and foundation grants.
And how many members do you have now?
Well, there was a time where when Seabrook was being built that the membership was quite high, perhaps about 5,000, but that was in the pre-digital age. So between members, followers, and supporters, we have definitely a couple of thousand of people that are either givers or followers in different ways. There's about 160,000 people, however, that live in the 10-mile emergency planning zone of Seabrook. There are 6 Massachusetts communities and 17 in New Hampshire. And the Massachusetts ones are, of course, Amesbury, Newburyport, Salisbury, West Newbury, Merrimack, and Salisbury, where I live, about 5 miles from the plant.
Very, very interesting. So you have both members and then you have volunteers. Tell us about what types of roles can volunteers have?
Well, it's been a little bit tricky with COVID to do a lot of in-person. We have had over the years some interns who have helped us with research and some of our membership and marketing efforts. We have a very active board of directors. They're a working board, and we have an advisory board as well. So, we're looking for younger people to get more involved, people that are, want to raise awareness about what it means to live near a nuclear plant and join our mission to make sure the plant is as safe as it can be for as long as it's operating and beyond. So we'd be glad to talk to folks if they're interested in learning more or finding a way to get more involved. We haven't had a lot of in-person events, of course, in the last few years, but we have had the opportunity to do some lectures by Zoom and things like that to community groups, faith-based groups, school groups, and that's another way for people to, engage with us as well. So we're happy to, if people know about a group that would like to learn about us, we're going to take those opportunities. Yeah.
Great. And what made you choose Amesbury? I know you have a bit of a background in Amesbury. If you don't mind me pointing that out, do you want to speak to that a little?
Yes, well, if we were looking out the window, you would see the roof of my childhood home on Belmont Street on Powwow Hill. So this is home for me, and it really felt like coming home. I've been the director of C-10 since 2017, and my background is in energy efficiency policy and programming, but when I had a young daughter and didn't want to do the big commute down 128, it just worked out that the founding director, Sandra Gavutis, was looking to retire. We were in Newburyport for about 25 years, and when that opportunity was coming to an end, we were really thrilled to link up with Mark Friery and Bob O'Brien here at CI Works. It was a little bit of a stretch to get into a good rent situation, and they've really worked with us and helped us out. And so it's a beautiful space. It's a great community of people, makers and innovators and artists and business people here at CI Works. So we love being here. We are a small organization, so it's nice to feel like we've got a little bit of camaraderie with our neighbors here as well. So that's been great.
Wonderful. How long have you been in Amesbury now?
We moved in November 2019, so we did have a celebration party, in January before COVID really closed things down. So it's been a different time to be here for sure.
That was a tough time. How did we talked to a lot of business owners about how they were affected with the changes that were required during COVID. How did it affect what you do? Although it brought a lot of things to Zoom, like with everybody, but how did it have much of an impact on what you do?
Well, doing the outreach and education, we've had to get creative. Everybody has. Obviously, our board meetings are on Zoom now. The hardest thing has been the challenges in getting out and meeting with people, and particularly donors who might want to get more involved and support us in significant ways. That's what nonprofits need to survive, and so we've had to get creative there. We rely on people who live in the community who support the work that we do, our extra level of watchfulness. But one thing I want to tell you about, Jenna, that we're really excited about, and Mike will show you a little more. So with our monitoring network, we depend on reliable electricity and internet to make sure that we can monitor beta and gamma radiation in the community surrounding Seabrook. Again, we do this under contract with the Department of Public Health in Mass, and we measure wind speed and direction, and so it's just extra watchfulness. Fortunately, there's not usually a lot of variation in the reports, but in the event that something serious happened, or just to understand baseline environmental releases, it's important. We've had increasing severe weather over the years. We had an incident in 2018 where a bomb cyclone knocked out 5 of our monitoring stations, so we didn't have power and internet, and we couldn't monitor there. So in the past year, we worked really hard partnering with a group called Climate Resilient Internet to look at how we could add solar and battery in a radio communications network to get off of more vulnerable internet, to make sure that we can keep monitoring whatever happens with the weather. So in December we found out, we got word from the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center that we are going to be awarded a major grant to undertake this work. And we're still finalizing, the ink is not dry on that, but with that and some private foundations, there's going to be a hub antenna on Powwow Hill that is going to communicate with our 18 field stations over radio communications with the solar and battery backup, and that is going to keep us resilient in the face of climate change.
That's
so that
really,
we won't
be
as vulnerable with power knocking things out. So we're really excited about that. It's something that we've thought about for a long time on the power side, but it really came to our attention about, wow, the internet can go down for a long time too, and what do you do? So that's one of our biggest projects now.
So I have questions about the monitoring. Are we going to do those with Mike, I believe?
Yeah, you should go over and take a look and talk to Mike. He's really the guy that can answer your questions there. So.
Excellent. Is there anything that we can do to help get the word out for you?
This is just a great opportunity to get in front of the viewers of Behind the Brick Wall and Amesbury Cable TV, so we appreciate that. I think a lot of people aren't aware that Seabrook is still operating and haven't really thought about what it means for them. So just knowing that we exist, following us on social media, on Facebook and Twitter and all that, Instagram. People can go to c-10.org to see our website and to read our newsletter.
C-10.org. Okay.
So yeah, we encourage people to take a look there, just become familiar with our work, and we're happy to answer questions and talk about opportunities to get involved.
Great. So maybe become members, maybe volunteer.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope that this moves some people to take a look at us. Thank you. Yeah.
It was great to hear all about what you do, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share all that information with us.
Well, thanks for all that you do, and to Phil, it's a really great opportunity.
My pleasure. Yeah. Thanks. Well, Mike, thanks so much for jumping in here. I had a great opportunity to talk to Natalie and learn about the organization, and now we've got some questions for you on some of the technical aspects of what you do. So thanks for taking the time this morning.
Well, thanks for having me, and I'm here to try and answer any questions that you may have.
Great. So tell us a little bit about how long you've been doing this and what your role is.
Well, my role is the network administrator of the Citizens Radiological Monitoring Network. And what we do is we monitor real-time beta and gamma radiation within the 10-mile emergency planning zone of Seabrook Nuclear Power Plant. I've been here since 2016. It was a great mesh coming to the C-10 Foundation. I love the people, I love the work. It's exciting, it's different every day. And we have real purpose. There's a great mission behind what we do here. So,
what's your background?
I was educated at Salem State College, and I have a degree in software development. But that has morphed into the radiological field and networking and just a whole myriad of needs that have to be applied to this position.
So tell us a little bit about what the day-to-day monitoring looks like. What you look for.
Okay, so first of all, we are not any type of emergency warning system. What we do is we look for anomalies. We are monitoring radiation in this area 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have 18 stations that are on the network. 17 of them are in the emergency planning zone. One is actually down near Boston that we use as a control site to monitor baseline levels between the two regions. 12 of our stations are in Massachusetts, 6 are in New Hampshire. 17 out of our 18 stations currently run beta and gamma radiation monitoring plus anemometer, which measures wind speed and wind direction. These are airborne.
Thank you, because I didn't know what that was.
Oh. Many types of radiation are airborne particles, and we are tracking airflow, wind flow, whichever way they're going, how fast the wind is going. Yeah. So when certain things happen, we can pick up where the wind's coming from and which direction it's blowing to. So it's important information to
Very interesting.
To keep track of, yes.
Great. And now, do you monitor other radiation other than what could potentially be coming from the plant?
Well, our devices are very sensitive equipment, so we can pick up radiation if we have elevated readings in the area. they will pick it up. So we've actually had an instance a couple of years ago over Thanksgiving weekend where there was a coal-fired plant in Buffalo that somehow emitted particles of radiation that followed a traffic, came right down the Merrimack Valley, and a scientific community was able to back up the meteorological data and to pinpoint actually where it came from. So
tell us a little bit about what the equipment is that you use here to do what you do.
Well, the main component in our monitoring is a radiation probe that you see here. These are marine-grade devices that are made specially for us by International Medcom, a company out in California.
Okay. They
monitor beta and gamma radiation using the classic Geiger-Muller pancake technology, which is Geiger counters, that's that technology that is used. They're highly sensitive, they're very durable, they're outside, they're mounted under an eave or some sort of elevated position where they're located towards the plant, because our main focus here is monitoring radiation in that EPZ around the plant. Anything else that we may pick up is secondary, but our primary focus is monitoring near the plant.
Okay, great. Any other equipment that you want to tell us about that you use here?
Well, at each station they have not only a probe, but they have the anemometer to measure wind and wind direction speed. But we also have microcomputers that are running the application, which actually does the communication part of retrieving the data from the devices and then sending it to our repository where we hold it for analysis. We generate reports for the Department of Public Health and MEMA. So we collect data all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and it's available for analysis by the scientific community.
Very interesting. So you report directly to the Department of Public Health?
That is correct.
Great. And MEMA. Tell us what is MEMA is?
The Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency.
Got it. Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks very much for all the information.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
It's been nice to meet you. Thanks, Mike.
So that was really interesting.
It was very interesting. I loved meeting with Natalie and with Mike, and they have two very different roles, but the work they do is extremely interesting.
I mean, I don't really give much thought to Seabrook Power Plant and its proximity to us, but I guess that's true. I mean, it's nice to know that there's literally an independent group monitoring it to make sure, hey, if there's an accident, are we kept safe and notified?
Yeah, it was very interesting, and it's nice that we can showcase what they do, because the work they do is really important.
Yeah,
so it was terrific.
Well, I'm excited that we got a chance to learn more. That both you and I, but also that the viewers get to learn more about what they're doing.
Yeah, and where they can find out more information and help. So that was, I'm really glad we did it.
Now, we only went right across the street. Right now, we're going to go and check out
M Cacao.
M Cacao. Now, my recollection is that they do chocolate.
They're going to feed us at this one.
Okay, we like to be fed. Okay, we're going to go check them out.
So Mike, thanks so much for shutting things down and taking the time to tell us about M Cacao and what you do here and how you came to Amesbury. So thanks.
Absolutely. Glad
so
to have you.
how did M Cacao come to be?
Well, I started out as an engineer, and I was in robotics, and I just got kind of tired of doing that, and I was looking for something different to do. We took a family trip to Peru, and while I was there, I was touring a chocolate factory where they made by hand chocolate using local cacao beans. And that's when I had the realization that maybe I could do this for a living.
Nice. An inspiration.
Yeah. And so I talked to my wife about it, and she said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So she's very supportive. So when I came back to the United States, I enrolled in pastry school to learn pastry and chocolate, and that's where I met Chef Delphin, and as soon as I met him, I immediately knew I needed to learn from him. And so I enrolled in the school and took his pastry program, and then after that I started M Cacao and asked him to join me so that we could I knew that with like both of our creativity and our passion for chocolate and pastry and ingredients, I knew we could do something crazy
Great.
special, and that's what we're doing.
That's such an interesting jump from robotics to chocolate.
Yes.
Excellent. That's great. And I noticed that you have some high-tech chocolate making equipment, so we'll get some shots of that as well.
Yeah.
So what year did you open M Cacao in Amesbury, and why Amesbury?
We opened in, let's see, 2 years ago, so 2020, and that's when we started building out the kitchen. And I chose Amesbury because these great mill buildings.
Right.
It's a wonderful setting to do what we're doing. I mean, these buildings have such a history of manufacturing.
Yes. Such a great vibe.
Yes, yeah, and we wanted to do what we're doing in a place that had that kind of history.
Yeah.
And the community is obviously really awesome, and we just love the people, and they've been so receptive and supportive.
Great, great. And the chamber, you're members of the chamber.
Yes.
And
yeah.
so I'm sure that has been beneficial.
Oh yeah.
So
Phil's
do
been
you have a
awesome.
retail location, or do you strictly manufacture?
So we don't have a retail location. We're online, and we also invite local people to come out and visit us whenever they want. We also have open house on Fridays. We have hot chocolate, and people can sample the stuff that we're working on. We're always doing R&D and developing new things, so we invite people to come out and try that.
So do you sell wholesale, or do you sell retail through your website?
We sell retail through the website, and we're looking into wholesale as well.
Okay, great. Well, maybe this will be an opportunity to help give that a jump start.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Excellent, excellent. And we've talked to a lot of businesses about how they were affected during COVID. Did this affect your business at all? You started kind of just as a lot of businesses were having trouble and shutting down. How did it affect your business?
Well, we, let's see.
You were building out during the beginning of that time,
Yeah,
right? 2020?
When it first hit, we were doing Easter eggs and getting ready for Easter. And then everything shut down, and we had to toss all our Easter eggs.
Oh no.
They were like beautiful
Yeah.
aquarium eggs. Those went to nothing. And then the following Valentine's Day, we all came down with COVID, and so we shut down for that. So after we restarted, it's been fine since then. But we built this out in the midst of it. So we built this with we've got HEPA filtration all over the place. We have UV air sterilization all over the place.
Great.
So we've taken measures.
Excellent, excellent. So the recipes, you were inspired in Peru on a trip to Peru. So is that reflected in the recipes and the chocolates that you create?
I would say that our inspiration for both me and Chef Delphin come from all over the world. So we love to use ingredients that are loved by cultures from all over, cuisines and ingredients and flavors just from everywhere. I mean, our whole reason we love to do this is exploration. So it's exploration of ingredients, flavors, textures, bringing in classic pastry components and different ingredients and ideas just from all over, and just putting it all together and creating something new.
Tell us about what are the different types of chocolates that you have right now that are available?
Well, we have a chef's collection, and that's our twist on a lot of different classics, and we draw upon our backgrounds in that collection.
But I know you have a lot of very interesting flavors. Do you want to share some of them? That
So we have in the chef's collection.
well, okay.
Oh,
Well, no, you mentioned one in particular that piqued my interest, the apricot basil. So you have
yes.
interesting flavors. What other interesting flavors do you have?
Oh, well, interesting flavors. Okay, so we do caramel dipped chilies and chocolate covered chili peppers that are grown locally.
Interesting.
We do chili caramels. We do. We have a chocolate version of the classic opera cake, which is a coffee cake and coffee ganache and chocolate ganache. We use lots of herbs and different spices. We have a collection that draws from various cuisines from all over the world. It's our world spice pralines. So we have Ethiopian berbere and Cajun spice and Mexican mole.
And people can find all of those different flavors listed in on your website?
That's right.
And what is the website?
It's mcacao.com, mcacao.com.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. This was really interesting, and I know we're going to have a chance to talk to Chef Delphin as well.
Yes.
So thanks. I'm so glad to meet you.
Me too. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Well, Chef Delphin, we got a little bit of a history there from Mike, and I really appreciate you taking the time to jump in and answer some more questions. Tell us a little bit about how you came to do this and what your background is.
Well, my background is I start this since I was a kid, since I was 14 years old in France, where I had my training. Then I became there a master pastry chef.
Okay, so you're a pastry chef by trade.
Originally, I mean, yeah, by train
Yeah.
I have it's a pastry chef chocolatier.
Okay.
So that's my training, beginning at the age of 14 in Burgundy. And I came to the States in 1981, and then I started to open my shops, opened two pastry shops, one in Marblehead and one in the Brookline. After that, I opened my school, a pastry school, which started first in Marblehead also, and then moved to Cambridge. And so I taught there until 3 years ago. That's when Mike came.
When
to
you met Mike.
Mike
at
came to my
pastry
class.
school?
He wanted to learn
Uh-huh.
chocolate, and that's how it started. So that's basically very much that. So I had my school for 20 years. I love teaching, you know. I love to share what I know. That's always been my thing, you know. And so this was a great idea. It was not just opening another business. Was
Yeah.
just with this background and what I know, I really thought we could do something completely different, you know, absolutely different. And that's how we started. And then we get together and we went from there.
That's great. Tell us a little bit about the types of chocolates that you make versus others that can be readily found.
Well, we try to be a little bit, I mean, you know, there's so much stuff out there, chocolates, you know, everybody do the best, everybody do different, everybody, you know, but I mean, chocolate is a very tricky thing to start with. It's very technical, it's very specific, it's not like pastry, we can mix much things, whatever. Chocolate is very specific, it's like science, you know, if you don't respect it, you will fail, basically. You know, so that's the beauty about working with chocolate. It's a lot to it. But with what I bring and what Mike bring, I understand his thinking, and he knows how I can bring that to life. You know, so again, we look, like you say, we look about things from all over the world instead of just doing the basic chocolate flavors that you see in every chocolate box. We look at spices, you look at herbs, you look at all those things, and okay, what can we do with that?
You've got very different combinations.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
very
but
interesting.
we understand. I know when he's talking.
Yeah.
I know how his mind works. I know exactly how he thinks, and sometimes it's like I can't work, you know. And then we start to work. We start to go. Okay, let's try this. So we come up with those ideas, you know, and they are different, you know, the way we process it. So and that's what allows us to come with different things. We just play. To me, it's like a playground, you know.
That's
I just
great.
play with it. That's
Excellent.
If it don't work, I try again, you know. So
That's excellent.
That's
I saw so many different spices and different
Yes.
ingredients over
Yes.
there. So tell us how do you come up with these different recipes? What's your inspiration for the
Again, you
recipes?
know, I mean, I always go back to basics first. You know, what make things to be good, how they work, about the science of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, I just go with, okay, so let's say we have spices, you know, and then I research, okay, in this New Orleans, okay, what spices they like, what goes with it. Maybe bourbon and something, maybe some, you know. So I do research about either the states, about the country, about the origins of different things, and I try to put that together. It's like I'm developing right now something about the Souths from around the world. So just example, I go to South Africa. Okay, so what they have there? Iron. And what works? Their marula is their liquor, their whatever, you know. So I do some research about it, and I come up with something. I create stuff that is not out there.
Interesting.
But you always go back to basics, you know, about the science of chocolate, what makes it work, and you know. And then after that, the rest is easy. You just play.
That's great. We got some photos of you with the machine over there. And tell us a little bit about what you were doing and how.
Well, right now, we are, again, since yesterday, this idea came out just a couple of days ago, actually, and we start to work into a new, until now we have not done truffles yet. So this is our first truffle, and those are not dairy, no nothing. How you call that? Not dairy, no animal.
Vegan.
Vegan. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I lost the word. So I'm working in a new idea about we know about vegan and everything.
Yep.
But so I came together with 8 recipes, and I'm working on developing, like you see, that some of them here about the vegan. So we have.
So these are vegan truffles.
Those are all vegan truffles. You know, there is 8 of them. This is champagne. This is salted caramel. Over there we have mint raspberry. We have here apricot and basil. And here we go. And the machine over there is just to temper it, to dip it. That's all.
The dip. Oh, that's the dipping machine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So we can do one by hand, but it's like forever.
Right. Right.
So.
I understand that you're offering classes is it only in chocolatiering or is it in pastry as well? Tell us about that.
It's chocolate, and it's also confiserie, which is candy type of thing, type of classes. And also have one that is, I knew that would be very popular, so it's and that's the French macarons.
Oh, okay.
So the French macaron is a very popular one, then the rest is about chocolate.
And when do they run? How do people find out information? Is it for children
now,
and adults?
It's for both. I mean, it's for both. Mostly it's adults, but we are okay with having kids. But they run. It's about a 4-hour class. It runs. We have 2 possibilities right now, in the daytime, and also the evening, and. It's all about the process, about from A to Z.
Excellent.
To finish. And it's hands-on also.
Hands-on, and you do it right here?
Right there, yeah.
Excellent. Good. Yeah. Well, great. I look forward to checking out all the different types of chocolates that you offer online. And
we are not done yet.
You're not done? So what's the next phase?
It's like we're going to,
You're going to keep evolving?
Yeah.
Keep creating?
Yeah, keep always looking for something different, So
great. You have a great story, and I'm very happy to meet both of you.
Thank you very much.
Wish you the best.
Thank you.
Well, that was delicious.
That was amazing. It was so interesting.
I mean, when we started this program, we've been doing this for quite some time, Janet.
Yep.
Like, that's the type of business where I don't think people realize, like, this is happening here in Amesbury.
I had no idea. Yeah. I had
No,
idea.
I didn't know about them until relatively recently. And I'm glad that we got an excuse to taste some more of their stuff today,
Yeah,
because it's delicious.
It was great. I know they recently joined the chamber, and that was my introduction to their business. And yep, they're tucked away in the trades mill, which is a perfect location for them. But just two very interesting gentlemen, very different personalities and different roles that work really well together. And their product, they were very generous. They had a whole spread of chocolate for us to try, and it was really fun.
They've got cheerleaders now. I will say they
Yes,
seem
they
to keep
do.
this as like a secret, but they brought us in the back afterwards, and they were showing us how they tend to really invest a lot of time and energy into doing like chocolate-covered peppers. And so it's just a unique business. I think it complements the Amesbury community. It's actually not at all surprising when you think about it that they're here, because it's a city of makers, and it's again why we do this program. I mean, that's why you started doing this, right?
Absolutely. It was very interesting. They do have a website, so that and I'll be checking that out and looking at using that and using some of these local businesses for client gifts and things like that. So it's great.
Well, hopefully this program was an excuse for people to walk down to Chestnut Street and explore some of the businesses and nonprofits that call that neighborhood home.
The amount of businesses in Amesbury and in the mills in Amesbury is really phenomenal. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to do this.
You take us on the adventures. Faulkner Commercial Group, a mountaintop landscape, and we couldn't
It's really
do this
fun.
without you.
Love it.
And of course, our friends at Amesbury Community Television. If you're interested in volunteering and you want to learn about another nonprofit, by all means come down to Amesbury High School and check it out with Russ Monroe and find out how you can get involved here at ACTV. Thank you, and from the Amesbury Chamber of Commerce, thank you for shopping local.
Excellent. Well, isn't that a nice little commercial you did there?
Yeah. Thank you.